Rolling Thunder, wubba, wubba, wubba. That
Rolling
shit goes
Thunder.
so hard.
Yeah, it is. It is. Welcome back. Secret House against Aesop Rock and Blockhead, Garbology. Thank you for tuning in. We are Secret House Against the World, Tokyo-based hip-hop music connoisseurs, as well as other genres of music. My name is Robinson Mega, and I do the editing. We are a triumvirate of...
I think it's triumvirate, like A-T-E.
Is it?
Not
It is.
A-N-T. Triumvirate.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's
It's
an
one
N
of
in
those things like where you never hear anybody say it, but you kind of just read it. You know what I mean? You know when your pronunciation is off? I remember we were just talking about Slavoj Žižek, and I was calling him Zizek, Slavoj Zizek for years until somebody was like, oh, I also read him, and also your pronunciation is terrible.
Secret House.
So yeah, we're back listening to the newest Aesop Rocky album.
Aesop Rocky and the Blockheads, British rock band from the 1970s.
Yeah, and it's a good project. Also like, subscribe, and deal with my music cutting on and off, which is I'm playing all music from Taji Mahal, Japanese beat maker, since we're out here in Japan. New album called Minor Sights that dropped a few weeks ago in October. So I don't know, something's going in and out with the music. It might stop, but don't pay attention to that. Pay attention to our opinions. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Yes. What else do we do? Tell me, you're in like.
Have either of you guys
everything.
ever hit the bell before?
Never.
I hit it
Never.
once on accident, and when I started getting notifications, I unsubscribed.
Quick.
Oh, you know, I hit the bell
Quick.
on Lewis Cole. Lewis Cole's
Okay.
YouTube channel. When Lewis Cole gets some new shit, he gets the bell. He gets the bell treatment. He's the only person I've hit the bell.
Yo, I don't know if I want to get notifications about anything.
Nah.
Yeah, even when my mom like hits me up, I'm like,
Exactly.
come on, like, you know what I mean? Put up a smoke signal. If I see it, I'll hit you back.
Yo, I got like 85 unread messages online. Dude.
Hey,
It's like, yeah.
live your
Dude.
best life, man. Yeah, Aesop Rock, Blockhead, new collaborative album by them called Garbology. It is 14 songs, 50 minutes. Let's start again per usual with like, do we know these artists?
Yes, I know Aesop Rock, right? And you know, shout out to the white guy convention of rappers. Love him. This guy is actually solid on his lyrics though. Like, this is one of the guys, when I hear him rap, I'm like, oh, okay, you got bars, my guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, been knowing this guy for, I would say, the latter part of 10 years.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
pretty long.
Yeah.
All things considered, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I've been into quote unquote alternative hip hop, I've been aware of Aesop Rocky, Aesop Rocky, Aesop Rock. I'm gonna do
Fashion
this.
icon.
fashion killer,
Right.
Aesop Rocky. I you know, obviously the whole Def Jux and fucking what's the other label that he's been releasing?
Rhymesayers.
Rhymesayers stuff like. I was really into Bazooka Tooth for a while.
Bazooka Tooth. One of his like least acclaimed albums. Though.
Yeah,
people don't like that.
Yeah, it's a weird record. I gave Spirit World Field Guide, last year's record, a listen on your recommendation. I fucked with it, and dipping back in. I guess this is the first time I've listened to a full album of him and Blockhead.
Okay.
Blockhead is also just like a name I've been aware of because I know that whole like Def Jux Rhymesayers circle. But I wouldn't call myself a fan. You know, I've always respected what he did, but I've never been like, oh shit, yo, this is the new Aesop Rock coming.
Right.
Like, you on the other hand,
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah. Oh, we are both agreeing. We're
Wow.
both fans of the same thing.
See, I thought you weren't going to fuck with this. I
Really?
was kind of in the air. I didn't know how you were going to feel about it.
This is hard.
But I got the big Impossible Kid poster up in the studio just because it was kind of big. I put it up. Also, I'm a fan, but I've been a fan of Aesop Rock since back in my b-boy days, like 1999, 2000, when he started to reach across the country with these underground tapes, music for Earthworms, Appleseed, and Float. And by the time Float dropped in like 2000, I was already like, this is my favorite MC. And unlike my other favorite MCs that year, which is probably like Ghostface, Aesop has kind of stayed on my personal top 5 MCs for the last 20 years. I think that he's great.
Also maybe the only like major underground artist who has stayed underground for damn near 30 years now, right?
Yeah.
He's been doing this since
By
the
choice.
late 80s now, I guess.
He must have been rapping in the early 90s. I mean, like, his influence are like fucking Yagafu Front and Camp Lo and the weird. He's an East Coast rapper. I thought he was black when I first heard him.
I did too.
Thought he was black.
I was like, yo, shout out to the white guys.
Yeah, shout out to the tall Jewish guys. They got fucking lines.
Man, the Jewish people.
I've never really been one to kind of champion him in a way that was like, yo, peep the new Aesop, because it's an acquired taste. And through the years, I've had arguments with people saying he's just talking gibberish or I don't get anything out of it. And,
really?
Tremendously, especially in the early 2000s.
Show yourselves.
Everybody thought like he doesn't say anything, and he was more cryptic back then.
But you're listening to Eminem?
If you've been listening only for 10 years, he's become more clear. But I think he's one of the great storytellers in music. He can put together. He's quirky. He's dope, and I'm a huge fan. I know his entire catalog front to back, and like he usually, if he drops an album, it usually ends up on my top 10 just because I like it. But I understand why people don't fuck with him.
I don't.
I do. I like when I hear other people who are popular MCs saying he's dope. Like Lupe Fiasco is a huge fan of Aesop Rock and like raps his verses like bar for bar, which is something I can't even really do most of the time. But yeah, I like Blockhead, and admittedly, I haven't followed his career so closely, his production side of it. But his album that he released with Billy Woods, Dour Candy, and also Unknown Knowns. He's done some collaborative work. He's dope.
Let me just say, the production on this album is dope as hell, man. Like, yo, you showed your ass off, Blockhead, on this. These tracks are not even. They're not clean, but they're not dirty. It just has a distinct sound to it to me. I'm listening. I'm like, yo, these just go hard. The drums just knocking to me. I'm like, yo.
Well, go off. Yeah, tell us what your general thoughts on the album are. Do I sound echoey to y'all?
Yeah, I was trying. Me
a little
too.
bit loud.
No?
A little bit.
We're okay.
Is the volume on a mixer up? I don't know. All right. Well, I guess we'll just deal with it. It does sound a little bit loud in my
favorite
headphones.
song is Wolf Piss.
He really likes piss.
He talked about piss a few times.
He talks about piss like 5 times
There's
on
a
this
golden
record.
shower line. There's
about
there's
pissing on a cop
piss.
car.
Yeah, there's a few
Talk
piss
about
lines.
like dog's piss. Like it comes up a few times.
What was the
there
song
is
after
pissing.
Wolf Piss?
Ledger Domain.
Ledger Domain.
Yeah.
What he
Ledger
said,
Domain.
rolling like thunder, wubba, wubba, wubba. I was like, that's a bar.
Talks about piss on jazz hands as well.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
Jazz hands,
there's a few piss references.
a lot
on
of
this.
piss on that.
Yeah, it's a piss-centric
I should have wrote down all the piss references. Somebody should catalog this for
Count the piss references.
continuity.
Let us
Aesop
know.
Rock talks about piss for 5
I mean,
minutes. Super
LP kind of talks about dicks all the time too. I don't know. It's a white rapper thing, maybe. I'm sure you could point out to like Eminem probably talks about something like scat or I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's a white rapper thing. But yeah, fucking go off. You like Wolf Piss. You like Ledger Domain.
Ledger Domain. Those were my favorite two on the album. But overall, the whole project was solid. There's not one beat I did not like. Like dead ass. I'm like, man, these beats are hard.
I'm pleasantly surprised as I was when we did the Z Looper review.
Oh, really?
I was telling Jet when we were having a conversation, you weren't here. I was like, I don't know about L Spade's taste in music. I don't know his thoughts on things. And because of the type of music you make, which is a little bit more conventional and pulls towards the South, I thought you might be averse to this type of music.
No, man.
I know you're a lyricist fan though.
Yes.
So
and the bars carried to everything on this album complemented each other. Like the bars went with the beats, and the beats were so. See, I think the beats on here was kind of conventional myself.
they were a little bit, right?
Right, but the bars just stood out over the beats. It's like everything worked. There was nothing that didn't work on this whole joint, and it was just phenomenal album, dude. Like I would say, this is one of the best albums I've heard all year. Me personally.
I like it quite a bit. What about you, Jet?
Here it comes.
It's all right. It's all right.
I feel you.
I don't
feel
know.
that.
Like I didn't dislike anything on it, but for me it was like listening to like a Joe Satriani album or like a Hiromi Uehara album, where it's like you have someone who is extraordinarily talented and really, really good at what they do, and then they just do it for an hour, and then like you get up and leave.
Sure.
And like there's like maybe a couple of hooks on the album, but he's not really a hooks artist like that. He's always trying to paint these very, very vivid pictures, but the tracks, they kind of just come and go for me. And also like I like the production as well, but it's very much like there's a loop and then like some little things will come in and out throughout. There's not really like huge progressions throughout most of the tracks. They don't really change up at all.
Sure.
They kind of evoke a musicality without having it so much because of sample choices.
There are some really nice samples on this record. I really, really liked some of the production on there, but even then I wouldn't say there was like any track on there that, as soon as I heard like a particular sample or like a particular phrase of music or a synthesizer or something where I'm like, whoa, this is like incredible. I was kind of just like whole time just, listening to it like while walking.
But the drums were fat
like,
as hell.
cool.
Let's just point that out.
The engineering on it, I like a lot. Like you said, it manages to be clean and dirty at the same time. I guess it's like walking into an antique store and everything's been very well looked after. Everything's very intentionally placed, and some things are very old and dusty and have a lot of history to them. And you have these kind of samples that, I don't know where Blockhead's pulling some of these samples from, but he's got these kind of orchestral samples. He's got some jazzy samples. He's got some bluesy samples on there, and some of them those could be samples from 70 years ago. Some of them are samples from 2021 probably, and
maybe he got it from Splice.
Manages to bring them all together very elegantly. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess, like, so I really liked last year's Aesop Rock Spirit World Field Guide, which I think, he produced all of that himself, right? And I felt like the production, was a little more risky and inventive. And he mixed up his cadences and his flows, and he has these kind of characters he occupies on that record. Whereas this one,
there's different depths of things. Sometimes it's braggadocio bar, sometimes it's a really quirky short story about a dog.
And sometimes, and I like it when he's being braggadocious. He has like I don't remember the exact line, but he's like, trick shots just to show I dabble. Next time I will not be aiming for the apple. Like I was like, oh shit, like he can be really, really nice with it, and it's definitely like a record that I wish I could have listened to it with the lyrics in front of me and just picked it apart as I was going.
You can't do it with this album? You don't think it's like some hard ass bars and quotables in this album?
Oh no, I do.
Oh wait,
but I'm saying I didn't when I was listening to it. I was listening to it while walking. So I didn't really like have my phone in front of me, and like not all of the lyrics are up on Apple Music where I listened to it.
I went to Genius. I'm like, yo, let me see what he said on this.
Some of the some of the bars on there are really, really good. Most of the bars in there are really good. This guy is a wordsmith, like through and through. He's a lyricist through and through. But for me, I guess because lyricism has never been something that I prioritize in the music I listen to. I'm more interested in the compositional elements and some of the like experimentation and like choices that get made musically when putting an album together. There was just a lot of lyricism, 50 minutes of lyricism on this record. The only like hook that really stuck to my mind on the record was on Difficult.
Okay, yeah.
Where he's like, folks say I'm difficult. And then, and then he talks about 2x. But it's funny because I'm easy, and I was like, okay, that's kind of catchy, like it's kind of cool.
I didn't care a lot for a lot of the hooks on this actually.
Yeah, no, it's kind of where I was at with it.
But I forgot about that. That's the thing. Like the lyrics are so good. I'm the type of person, man. I can see what the strong point in everything is, and the strong point on this album are the beats and the lyrics.
How they complement each other. I think that's what it's about, really. I think this. I didn't mean to cut you guys off on it, right? But like, obviously, I wouldn't call myself a stan because I have been critical of his albums. Spirit World Field Guide is great. I think it was mixed really bad. It sounded really tinny. I do like that album a lot, but. Like one of the things about Aesop Rock is like his collaborations tend to bring like a new life into his music in a way that still is singularly Aesop Rock, and that's with the lyrics on this. Like the collaboration
and I think, obviously these guys have been collaborating for 25 years.
Sure,
like
I mean their careers started together
in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think for me. Maybe it's like the prevailing mood of the album for me is quite, it's very desolate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's called Garbology, which is like the study of a society by looking at its refuse, looking at its trash. The idea is, if you were to go look at like a garbage dump of any society, you'd be able to learn a lot about that society. And it has that kind of desolate wasteland feeling. You know, there's a lot of lyrics about like wanting to just isolate yourself from society, be
reclusive,
which is
hikikomori, but also
the
like
kind
a
of character
black
he is.
magic with a K type
Right.
of psychedelia, like psychedelic world that he creates.
And the whole album, yeah, it's very elusive in that way to me. Like it kind of, you know, it's just a mood, like a prevailing, you know, here's
Definitely a
like 50
mood,
minutes
yeah.
of just like
Fast.
walking through a very beautiful garbage dump.
Right.
And that probably sounds way more negative than I intend it to sound.
But it lacks a lot of elements that have made his growth as an artist kind of really interesting. He's become more open and clear about his rhyming, his mental health issues, just and told different stories. This is largely just him kind of painting a picture in a different way than Spirit World Field Guide with this really dense, reclusive kind of world that he's creating. Now, there's songs on here that I think have stories, and I think that they say something, but it took me a while to unpackage it. When I first listened to it, I was like, surface level, these bars are incredible. Every single track I can pick out 15 bars that are just like, oh my God, let's talk about this and break down exactly why this bar is so dope. But as I listened to it more as a big Aesop Rock fan, I found that some of these seem to kind of be to me, they feel like callbacks to earlier work. For example, Difficult feels kind of like an answer to Easy on Bazooka Tooth.
Sure.
And Cycles is it called Cycles or Of Cycles or...
I gotta go back in the lab and listen to this old stuff then.
So Cycles,
More Cycles.
more Cycles. See, More Cycles. That sounds a lot to me like a kind of like an addendum or a futuristic cyberpunk addendum to Cycles to Gehenna on Skeleton.
Yeah.
And some of the themes are there for that, as well as I'm trying to pull up.
Maybe that's why it's
my notes here.
Garbology. He's talking about the throwaway
Maybe.
shit.
And like Flamingo Pink, you know, the chorus, how they talks about kind of like all the heroes are fucking terrible people. It sounds kind of like a response to Kill the Messenger. There's also so many songs about Aesop Rock's back catalog about the ocean or tugboats or water in general, and the sea kind of picks up on that too. Now, I think like a lot of these tracks unfold in different ways, but largely this album is kind of just him reliving kind of this, like creating a relationship with Blockhead again. And a lot of his albums that are not solo albums, they tend to kind of be more loose like that. You have the Uncluded, which he did with Kimya Dawson, which is kind of just them kind of playing around with these two different styles. The Lice albums are him kind of barring out. The Beast, the Hail Mary Mallon albums are him kind of barring out and doing things. This to me kind of feels like two friends getting back together and trying to put something out, which I think they succeed in almost every single way, but it does kind of lack a certain depth on first listen to me. But there's a lot of things on here that I was picking up on, like of course, Ledger Domain kind of speaks for itself off of the title. It's kind of talking specifically about that. Difficult, we kind of get like, you think I'm difficult, but I'm hella easy. There's More Cycles, which I think is him kind of just painting this picture of traveling and being kind of like an easy rider, outsider on this lone motorcycle throughout this world that's filled with garbage and shit.
I do like how detached it felt from all other hip hop right now. It was not at all like referential. There's the Homeboy Sandman feature on there, although I would put those two in like the same kind of weight class anyway. And they've collaborated before on
Sandy's got some work to catch up to that Aesop. I would have liked to.
No.
I would have liked to have.
I don't mean in terms of skills, but
Right.
I mean, you know,
They're dope together.
if you're
They're
someone
really
who
wordy
likes
together.
Homeboy Sandman a lot, you're probably someone who likes Aesop Rock a lot.
I would have loved one of the things I wish more for this album to have had is some of the past collaborators that they worked on together to kind of bring it back full circle. I would have loved a Logic feature. I would have loved an actual Billy Woods feature instead of just that background backing vocal on the chorus of the Ledger Domain. I would have liked Rob Sonic on the song with fucking him, Sandy, and Aesop would have been incredible to me. I would have liked a little bit more of that to kind of fill out this connection that they had.
And yeah, like it's that connection, right? I mean, I think that's ultimately why there's only that one like credited feature on the whole record, is that this is solely meant to just be these two dudes talking.
Right.
What have you done?
My phone is fucking trash and fucked.
The
but I'm sorry
remix.
to hear notifications, but yeah, I'm sorry.
I really liked the end of the album, like the last handful of tracks on there.
Those songs are clearly like not just a motif of being dope. There's like That Is Not a Wizard is kind of a commentary on like the state of America and his kind of perception of the like a variety of things in his most, you know, kind of clear metaphors of things. Like he paints a very vivid picture of simple ideas that are put together in a very unique type of way.
I'm just gonna let you cook, man, because you saying everything I want to say.
Fizz,
You know what I mean? Like it's
Cook.
crazy.
the beats, like the beat on Fizz is just pretty different to everything else on there.
Fizz is stand out.
Abandoned Malls at the end like feels very personal to me. Like, you know, I assume this is about like the loss of someone close.
I've listened to the C in Abandoned Malls the least because every time I try to do a listen through, I get stuck on songs and I just be like, oh my God, what do you mean you cannot domesticate the modern vigilante who increasingly identifies as energy expanding? There's so many. We will not be keeping calm. We will turn barbarians into carry at the senior prom. Meet us in the creeping fog. There's so many bars on this fucking. My new form isn't in the folklore. The new norm wasn't in the brochure. There's no known cure. Nothing more to figure out but sit around and grow horns.
Put an air horn right here.
Like even the simplest track, All the Smart People, which is about like this
that little dialogue he has at the beginning is great.
The shit that he's talking, like this little kid's asking this old man who happens to be like the mangiest person in the world with the angriest eyes. Even a simple line like, Sonny, I've been all around this motherfucking road map. It just sounds hard. Aesop is almost singular in his ability to kind of use these modern pop culture references along with these very deep esoteric things that you may have heard in passing, but you don't really understand.
That's the beauty of it, yeah.
And like Doom also had this ability to take all these cultural refrains and re-put them into a wubba wubba wubba. Right. But Aesop is kind of intellectually very dense in a different way. Like how do you absorb the shit that you saw on the History Channel in that way that you would create a line that says like, what is the fucking line? Headed for Satori in jorts with horse blinders. Like Satori, I know Satori because one of my best friends' name is Satoru, and I've known because also my Buddhist practice. Satori is the pinnacle of happiness.
Yes,
you know that moment where the game-winning basketball goes in that exact second.
It's like
is the pinnacle, right?
Like
Headed for Satori in jorts, jean shorts with horse blinders. Like the vivid picture is so layered, but it's very clear, and that's like an opening line for him that he goes into the other shit's short sword swinging like a sword from, or like the dance floor. What is it? Stormed off forged from my gramps war stories. Short sword swinging like a dance floor in the 40s.
Oh, that shit was fucking crazy.
And that's like the first three bars. Like every single track on this is full of these incredibly dense,
like, woo, run it back.
Fucking like, oh my God. Like I stopped writing down lines. Yeah. Look. Everything I wear got 3 wolves. Like the 3 wolves t-shirt that was mimetic.
3 wolf moon.
There is no Ace, only Zool. I got Ghostbusters off of the 3 wolves shit, and he's just simply talking about dressing like a fucking, like, you know.
We're talking about like he loves animals, the bird lands in his hand, like. I mean, he's amazing at painting a vivid picture. The only reason I'm so like lukewarm on this record is that it is a 50-minute long guitar solo.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem I have with it, is that I just don't have the listen, and I don't really like his voice.
I guess you don't listen to Buddy Rich then, because them drum solos be lasting like 10 minutes. I'm cool with it.
I get what you're saying, because I've actually felt that way about some Aesop collaborations and things. Like this one just kind of speaks to me in a different way. It feels a little bit like I as I've listened to his last few albums, the Tobacco album was a difficult listen for me. Because like even though there's like really crazy storytelling on that, the beats were just kind of like, it's hard to get through this with the density. The balance wasn't there. This, I feel like the more I listened to it, especially as background music one day, the track started growing on me, where I noticed a little bit more of his voice as kind of a complement to the beats than just this rapid fire type of.
Don't penalize the man for his greatness, Jet, man.
No, I am not.
I get it.
No.
He's so awesome that I can't listen to him.
You ask me what I think of, I didn't dislike any song on this album. I liked every single song on this album. I don't know how much I liked it as an album.
Bitch, pick up a hiccup in the curriculum. Fuck! Oh my God! It's like I love it. You know what? Of all the years that I've done Mega Late Show and other things with Late, I've never really had a chance to dissect or talked about my real appreciation for Aesop Rock. This is about as close as I've ever got to it. He's heard me say like, oh yeah, my favorite album this year is this Aesop Rock project, or it's the 5th favorite album. Even last year with Spirit World, I put it top 5 because I liked it, even with my problems. But this is just like, you know, this is really nice for me, especially I got Spade on my side. I know you like Aesop too, but I understand your critiques. I understand.
Like the record. I totally like the record, but
it goes hard, man. Best album.
It's fucking crazy lyrically.
Yeah. Like, if you compare, like, for me, like going from Spirit World to this one is like going from To Pimp a Butterfly to Damn. Like,
okay,
you go
I
from
get it.
something
But
that
I thought Dan was better than The Pimp a Butterfly.
I disagree.
Yeah, I mean, people.
You don't like To Pimp a Butterfly, right?
Huh?
You don't
I don't like it.
I
don't
thought
like
it was
Pimp a
his
Butterfly.
I think it's the best album of the last decade.
Dan was way better.
I love that record,
Butterfly.
but
I mean,
yeah,
just
but then,
saying.
okay, so that's it, right? It's a matter of preference in that way,
get
right?
it,
Because
I get it.
I think ultimately, like, I liked how experimental and weird he got with it on the last record, and the picture he painted, you know, had a bit more of a direction to it, as opposed to like 50 minutes of like very, very, you know, expertly crafted sketches.
Spirit World Field Guide was like he was in that world and he crafted this entire like reality in that world. This one is kind of like him in our reality, seeing remnants of that world in a way where it's just not the same type of cohesion.
And being
Shout out to
very
the slow kids who like this one.
distasteful towards this reality.
I
as
like
well.
this album better than Spirit World.
Okay,
Field
I'm just
Guide.
making sure.
I like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
album
Okay.
better than Spirit
I
World.
want the
It's just
slow
more
kids.
fun for me. Doc, listen, my coaches told me don't come home without the serpent's head. I
Just read
told
the
him
whole
hold
album.
my
Just
turkey
read the
leg.
whole album from
Point
start
me
to
at
finish.
a pitchfork. I brought home the trophy. I brought the trophy home and took the poultry back still warm.
No one is taking
Fucking
away
crazy, bro.
his virtuosity.
No, I
with
just want
words.
to. I just want
Like,
to. I really, I just
we
want to
could
say how
we
dope
could do
it
a
is.
whole video of like top 10 favorite bars
Right,
from
right.
this record, and we'd probably all
Bars.
have 10 different favorite.
My
but like
snail trail exhibit infinity wrong turns.
Secret House. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Hey, don't get brave around the cave mouth. No lollipops on the way out.
DJ Elspade, Elspadia 2, now available on all streaming platforms.
Please, listen
Buy
to
it,
that.
give it listen, give him your money. You can tell him it sucks, but give him your money
Yes,
first.
please do that.
Rip a lackey off the chessboard. Hack up any edgelord. Yo, Secret House against Aesop Rock, Blockhead, Garbology. Album of the year, top 5 for me. I love
Definitely,
it. I love
yeah,
it. It's going to hit top 5 for me.
Yes, definitely.
Yo, you know what? This is all different. We out.